Harry has met someone who is his age, with whom he is in love, and who is in love with him. And Meghan found out about it, according to my sources of information, after she discovered texts on Harry's phone.
It's not well in the marriage of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Now, in fairness, if you have been a viewer or a reader of Outspoken for pretty much 18 months, you've known that, because I have reported on things that the mainstream media simply will not. But there's been two very significant developments over the weekend. I want to share them both with you. First, Alison Boshoff, who, remember, is the woman tasked specifically with covering the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle beat for the Daily Mail, confirming what folk like me have been saying for some time. And she uses a very careful phrase: the veil is lifting in terms of Harry's feelings about Meghan. Again, this is nothing new if you're a regular viewer of Outspoken, but what it does show you is that all of a sudden, sure, Alison Boshoff, not a member of the Royal Rota, but the fact that the Daily Mail, which has some new confidence in terms of its reporting on this couple after its mega courtroom victory, is prepared to go there, is quite something. And I'll get into that reporting imminently. But perhaps a little bit more shocking is the claim from Lady Colin Campbell, independent YouTube sensation and royal author. Of course, she will be here later in this week, suggesting that Harry has met some new type of companion in Montecito, a female companion who he loves. She insists, by the way, for legal reasons, that they are not having an affair, but certainly this is something that she says Meghan has found out about and is not happy about. It's worth listening directly to Lady C's reporting on this.
Well, Harry has met someone who is his age, with whom he is in love, and who is in love with him. And Meghan found out about it, according to my sources of information, after she discovered texts on Harry's phone. How many tears left I? How many? Oh. I think we'd better get a bottle of champagne to sort of get everybody calm. If Harry does have an interest elsewhere, and you notice I say if, and I do so for legal reasons, and you also notice for legal reasons I haven't said that he's having an affair with this woman, nor have I said that he's having a post-marital or anything affair with this woman. And I'm making sure I don't say it for legal reasons. But you can draw your own conclusions. Two adults who are supposedly in love and in their 40s. Well, of course, what do? They certainly wouldn't do anything but speak about Schopenhauer. Of course, that's what they do.
Now, Lady C goes on to report that Meghan Markle is livid, but she won't give up because of the brand, and neither will Harry.
According to what I have been told, Meghan is livid, but I'm going to quote, but not enough to give up on her brand, which includes Harry's connection to the king, nor is Harry about to leave his children, whom he loves dearly. The girl, woman, girlfriend, friend, however you want to put it, and I'm putting it like this for legal reasons, resides, and I'm not going to say if it's actually in Montecito or near Montecito, but it's in the environs, let's put it that way.
What's interesting is that Lady Colin Campbell's new reporting comes at a time that the Daily Mail is finally prepared to go there, suggesting that while he was madly in love, the veil is now lifting. So let me take you inside this reporting from what she describes as the plan to reverse Megxit from the Daily Mail's Alison Boshoff, who reports the conditions of the reconciliation, this is with the king, were that there was to be no cameras in the room, no briefings, and no Instagram posts about jam or anything else. To these strictures, an apparently humbled Harry agreed in a heartbeat, and he has been as good as his word. Now, again, I totally disagree with that. Like, honestly, they leaked immediately to People magazine last week about how unhappy Meghan was and how sad she was about how it had all played out. And then we've seen the leaking from Harry to the Sunday Mirror over the weekend about how emotional the reunion was. So please, can we not say that these two know how to keep their mouths shut, because they don't. But a friend of his comments to Boshoff, Harry was never going to let the kids down. They were so invested in the trip. They FaceTime with Charles all the time, so they already have a relationship, but they were so excited to finally come home. It was their first proper chance to meet. But Boshoff adds, I can reveal what was at stake was more than simply a grandfather who has not been in the best of health, spending time with his grandchildren, or even healing the wounds caused by Oprah Spare, Harry and Meghan on Netflix, the court actions against the Home Office, and all of the rest of it. The Sussexes, she announced, are seeking to reverse Megxit. It seems that a return to the UK is being contemplated in some form, and that the couple's holiday home in Portugal will be used as a staging post back to Britain. I'm told there are two key reasons for this. A friend of Prince Harry says there is definitely a feeling in his camp that he has started to feel a bit unwelcome in America. That has been an increasing and significant shift in sentiment, a feeling that the American dream might not be all that it was cracked up to be. I am told that this is coming from Meghan as well as from him. I hear that Meghan is all for rekindling with and reconnecting with Harry's English side. She is fully behind it. So look, I'm going to continue the reporting in just one moment. But first, I've got to bring in Brittany, editor of the Royal News Network, who joins me stateside because, Brittany, seriously, maybe that's true. You tell me that there is a significant shift and a cooling in America, but trust me, there's no shift here. I mean, if anything, I would argue that after the last 2 weeks, the view of Brits is hardening, that they don't want the Harry and Meghan drama back in the UK.
I mean, the truth, Dan, is that Harry and Meghan bring toxicity wherever they go, whether it is in person or online. It's just always seemingly toxic with them. And that's part of the reason why nobody wants them around. It's never easy. It's never simple. It's always complicated. And when it comes to the United States especially, we really appreciate hard work in America, and that's the last thing Prince Harry and Meghan Markle do is hard work. They barely work at all, and then they want all the praise, all the accolades, all the attention, all the glory for doing the minimal bare work that they do. And so the American dream is very, very much alive, but Harry and Meghan couldn't live it because they're not good at what they are attempting to do. Meghan never really made it in Hollywood before she met Harry, and the same is true after him as well. They got a little bit, but Harry and Meghan just don't seem to know what to do, don't seem to know where to go. I think this is putting immense strain on their relationship because I'm sure the money problems and issues are compounding because they don't have the same money coming in that they did just even a couple of years ago. And so the whole situation with them is sort of falling apart. And it's due to them. They didn't produce good work. And you know what? You got a failing grade, and they're sort of failing at life too.
Indeed, and Boshoff goes on, Brittany, there's dwindling star power, and the end of their deals with Spotify and Netflix must surely play a part, as must Meghan's fading popularity among the supporters, like Ted Sarandos of Netflix, who had previously been her cheerleaders. The source adds, England is where Harry's heart has always lain. It is no secret that they went to the States to try and seek their fortune, to try to capitalize on his fame and his royalty to some degree. They have had successes. The $100 million Netflix deal is not nothing. But that American dream is cooling, and she feels an outcast status as well. She feels like she is trying to push fresh thoughts and projects, but it is not easy. So maybe enough water has now passed under the bridge here for some form of a return. Now, this is an extraordinary U-turn in terms of the briefing. But again, it does back up everything that I've reported for some time. I mean, the fact that Meghan now doesn't even get an invite to the main Emmy Awards, let alone the Met Gala or the Oscars. The fact that Harry cannot get a seat at even a pool match of the FIFA World Cup shows you that absolutely America has turned, and they are feeling it. But I think the problem is to try and come back to the UK, to try and come back to England as some sort of backup option is simply not going to fly. Like, we're not your backup option, Harry. And unfortunately, we were never going to be your backup option from the moment that you went on Netflix and suggested that those of us who voted for Brexit, remember that's over 52% of the population, were in some way racist. We were also never going to accept the way that you tried to bring down the British royal family. So what's so interesting for me is that it's like, oh shit, there's no plan B. The plan B is the UK. Now, Boshoff does temper some of her reporting by saying it's not a permanent or imminent return that's been discussed, but to hear it being mooted still feels like a bombshell. And I agree with her. It is a bombshell because it is a total 180. I also think money is a big part of this, but we'll come to that. Another source who is less sympathetic to the Sussexes says they suspect a different kind of calling may lie behind the manoeuvre. And this is where we come to Alison Boshoff, and I give her credit. She's doing it carefully. She has to be careful. She's in the mainstream media. I get that. But coming to the fact that really the marriage is not in a strong place anymore. The source said, I don't think he's ever wanted to be estranged from his family. I think when he was madly in love with Meghan, he could be blind enough to choose her. Now things are different, and the veil is lifting. Now, Brittany, I will return to the report in just one moment, but to me, they are the most significant 4 words in this whole article. The veil is lifting. That is talking about how Harry feels about Meghan. And of course, I have reported for a long time all of the issues within the marriage, but you have to admit, Brittany, this is very significant that it has finally found its way into the mainstream British media, which have been absolutely determined not to go there until now.
I mean, Dan, this is huge. And it goes along with what I've been speculating on a lot as well, because when it came to the move to Hollywood, I mean, we all knew this really wasn't Harry's idea. And leaving the royal family wasn't Harry's idea. I think Harry would have been perfectly fine to stay in the royal family for the rest of his life. But Meghan just kept whispering in his ear. And of course, she was manipulating him, saying I was going to kill myself. And the press is so mean to me. And like, you know, falling in his arms and weeping and stuff and hiding in a corner. Like Meghan did, I think, probably a lot of theatrics to really convince Harry that their only option was to leave. And she spun him, I think, this tale of how successful she was in Hollywood and they could do this and they could do that. And Harry, I think, was high on the supply. Like he did his whole Freedom Flight video, which is like absolute cringe now when you look at it. And so they went to Hollywood, they went to California, and things were good for a while and the dream seemed real. But now the dream is dying. It's turning into a nightmare. And as it turns out, making content or making shows and productions is hard work. And creating a documentary is hard work. You have to create a story, and they've had a lot of failure at this point. Netflix just proving again how much of a failure the two of them are by releasing the most recent numbers from what we watched for the first half of 2026. And so this all kind of culminates in this failure. And Harry is just like, okay, I'm seeing it now a bit more. This was all a lie to get me over here so she could live out her Hollywood dream, but it's become a nightmare for the both of us. And now I want to go back home. But home is not really an option for him either, because he didn't just leave. He lit it on fire as he left. And it's impossible to pick up those ashes fully. He will never be who he was before he left. And he has his wife to blame for that.
Totally. Well, he does. I mean, he does, but I also think he has himself to blame too.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Himself to blame.
Because there was a lot of, I mean, look, I 100% agree with you, Brittany. 100% agree with you. And you could say that right up until Spare. But Spare was his name on that book.
That is true.
You know, and there was a hell of a lot of damaging stuff on Oprah and Netflix. And to be honest, I think it was done at that point. But like, I think Spare was like the final million nails in the coffin, if you get what I mean, when you think that was all of the accusations against Catherine, Camilla being dangerous, the so-called fight with William. But look, I do fundamentally agree with you. It was obviously all started by Meghan, and I think by the time Spare came around, it was too late, actually. But Boshoff goes on to report, it is a short hop from that reality to Harry and his family staying in a royal palace when he is next in the UK. And this is where I just think, Charles, what are you doing, man? And if that protocol is established, which Harry apparently feels sure can happen next time, then he looks as half in and half out. Precisely what the late Queen barred the couple from doing. What we do know is that Harry will be back in September for another charity event. There is an expectation that there will be another meeting with the King, and that he will accept an offer to stay at Buckingham Palace in good time this time. Next summer, he will be in Birmingham for all 10 days of the Invictus Games, and the plan is that Meghan will come with him for the whole thing. If she's in the UK, then they will want to bring the children too, says the friend. If it is possible, I'm told he would like the children to see what he does and experience some of the atmosphere of the Games, which are very close to his heart. Where might they stay? Highgrove would make perfect sense geographically. Now, I'll just again pause there, Brittany, because what this is a very sort of PR spun way of saying is that Harry and Meghan are planning to unmask the children next year at the Invictus Games. They intended to do it this year. It didn't work out. They're going to take another year, Brittany, to try and use the children as emotional blackmail in their battle with the King, using the British government in order to do so. I mean, seriously, it's nuts. And do we actually believe that even if they do get their way, that they will unveil the children? Or is it just a way of trying to force the British government into giving them security? And remember, I have reported, and this still hasn't been picked up anywhere else, and it infuriates me, but I have reported, Brittany, that the reason they want the security cover from Ravik is once they get it, it's very difficult to lose it, and it would mean that they were covered all over the world for security, which means immediately Harry and Meghan don't have to pay their $3 million security bill. But I think what they're doing here very clearly, Brittany, is using the children as bait to the King, as bait to the British government, as bait to the British public. Like, you give us the security, you'll see the children. It's gross. And I don't even necessarily believe it.
Absolutely despicable, Dan. When you look at how Harry and Meghan have used their children. And the honest thing is, I think we'll probably see the kids sometimes within the next 365 days. I don't know if Harry and Meghan can make it all the way to the Invictus Games, because the brand of Harry and Meghan is in a really bad spot at the moment. They have no projects really in production. Everything's stuck in development hell. And so the kids are sort of the last resort. And so I think we will see them trot out the kids and start to show them more, leverage them more for their brand, because Harry and Meghan apparently have nothing else. And what you see in actually the Netflix numbers more recently is that the only thing that sells about Harry and Meghan is their connection to the royal family. And through their children, they'll just continue to exploit that, continue to manipulate and blackmail Charles. And the thing is here, if Charles met with them, and that's great for him. I understand why that's good for Charles, but he really has to think about the bigger picture here. Are Harry and Meghan meeting with him and the kids to have a relationship, or to leverage his feelings in order to get their way? And those are two very different meanings. And unfortunately, because I think Charles, in some ways, I mean, Harry and Meghan capitulated, and Charles did somewhat as well. By meeting with them, I think he reinforces this idea that they can manipulate him with the children. And there's just a huge danger there. The reality is, Archie and Lily were not going to get security even before Harry and Meghan left the royal family. Harry and Meghan don't need it. Nobody wants to pay for them. In the United States or anywhere else in the world, nobody wants to pay for their security. They are private citizens, and that just must be made appallingly clear to them. And I just don't think Charles is going to do it.
No, indeed. And this Portugal house, Brittany, is something that Alison Boshoff thinks is very significant, because they're going to use it as a base in order to sort of fly in and fly out. So she quotes a source saying, They had a house built in Portugal for the kids to be close to their royal side in case they want to participate. It's in a private part. I'm not sure it's finished yet. Meghan was having Soho House decorated. Harry's friend then adds, the house in Portugal is afoot on the right side of the pond, and I believe that they spent time there after being in the UK last week and before it as well. It's striking distance for them to get to London. Harry has no desire to be Euro trash. He is very proudly British and English and wants to be in England, but Portugal could be a kind of stepping stone for a couple of years. I mean, I point out, by the way, they have no security protection when they're in Portugal, of course. But she and the children still travelled privately to Highgrove and are thought to have then gone on to Althorpe to be hosted by Harry's uncle, Earl Spencer, and pay a visit to his mother's grave on the estate. A friend says that despite appearances and without going into operational detail, security actually was improved this time for the visit. He would have liked full security from the start, but that was not on the table. But what was on the table was a considerable upping of what was there previously. For that reason, the visit was very much better and everything is in a better place. It is still baby steps, but there is reason to hope going forward. The Prince apparently believes his security will continue to improve, and after the shocking murder of former MP Anne Widdecombe, that seems to be a fair assumption. There's no prospect of any further legal action from him against the Home Office. That legal action, which had put his father in such a difficult position because he would not and could not intervene, and which Harry lost on appeal last May. Indeed, I am told there are no more fights to come. That era has closed. The colossal defeat against Associated Newspapers, the publisher of the Daily Mail, over wild allegations of bugging and hacking will, according to friends, be the very last time Prince Harry comes to court. That's it now. He's putting down his fists, says the friend. The loss was absolutely a no-go area for discussion during the visit. Now, I would just say, look at the front page of the Sunday Mirror over the weekend, where Harry made it absolutely clear that he does intend to continue his fight versus the British government. So again, I would say the briefing here is all over the place. Boshoff goes on, what remains unresolved is the schism between Harry and his brother Prince William, the heir to his spare. Friends of Harry claim the two men do communicate and say it would have been the most amazing signal to everybody if William had managed to be at Highgrove. That seems the faintest of prospects, but Harry must be serious indeed about reconciliation to even talk about aiming for this outcome. As one Sussex source observes, everyone knows their future is not in his dad's hands, it's in his brother's. Now, Brittany, look, there's some very good reporting there from Alison Boshoff. I am not taking that away. But there is also, do you agree with me, a huge amount of delusion coming from Harry's side and coming from Harry's friends. And I feel like, Brittany, they genuinely believe, and I do think this comes from the total pig-headedness and arrogance of Harry, that if they just keep repeating the same thing, Brittany, eventually it's going to happen. Eventually he's going to get his way. And I guess it probably shows what sort of a spoiled brat, unfortunately, he has ended up as, because it's like if he just keeps hammering the security issue, using whatever he can. I mean, Anne Widdecombe, can I just say, Brittany, was a friend of mine, okay? And I had conversations with Anne Widdecombe on GB News, where she was a regular on my show, about how despicable it was that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle used her within their Netflix documentary to try and claim that the British public were racist. So I'm sorry if I find it absolutely disgusting that they are now invoking the name and the assassination of Anne Widdecombe to try and provide Prince Harry with security. It is sick. So I'm just going to say that because I think it's so wrong. But the second point I would make, Brittany, is just talking about William as if like, oh yeah, I mean, of course they're in touch. I mean, sure, he didn't show to Highgrove, but it's just, of course it's going to happen. It's just like they're repeating the same mistake. They're repeating the mistake of the security. Constantly repeating a lie doesn't make your lie come true. And do I believe that William is anywhere near close any type of face-to-face reconciliation with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? No, I do not. And it was just like earlier this year how Harry's team briefed to the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths, as it turned out, that he was absolutely going to get security from Rava. It was a lie. It was a total lie.
I mean, Harry and the security issue, like, there's a very simple solution here. Strip him of his place in the line of succession, strip his titles, strip his place as counselor of state. And wouldn't you know it, the security issue, it should magically go away because he no longer has a connection to the crown. Wouldn't that be great if that was the case? Of course, that just seems highly unlikely during Charles's reign, but this whole Harry obsession and just continuing to go again and again and again and keep being told no is just insane to me because it's just such a waste of time. It's so immature. It's so unprofessional. It's like you left the job and you were told leaving the job would mean you left a lot of the perks behind. And Harry just cannot accept that, seemingly to save his life. And it is very standard across most royal families that I'm aware of, where usually it is just the heir and the heir's family who has full-time security. Everybody else maybe has it from time to time if they're at different family events or whatever. But it's very rare for someone to get full-time security all the time because it's very, very expensive. And if you get that internationally protected person status, that means anywhere you go in the world, they have to treat you and augment your security. And nobody wants to pay for that. It would be a diplomatic nightmare for the UK because everybody would be like, why are we paying for this? He's not a politician. He just is the son of the king, and we're not paying for the son of the king over here. Why are we paying for this one? And so it's just an absolute political nightmare. Nobody wants to touch this. Nobody wants to give into this with Harry. And he just needs to let it go. I think it would actually help him a lot just to accept his lot in life. But he can't. And he left and he regrets it. And then he's just trying to do all these things and just nothing is working. And this goes to show that, yes, you can come to the United States, but not everything is hunky-dory. And Harry should have thought a little bit more before going along with his wife's ideas.
Yes, he should have. Of course he should have. And I mean, when are we going to see her next, Brittany? This is all very intriguing. And how does she feel about Harry's friends briefing to the Daily Mail, that the veil has lifted in terms of Harry starting to realise who he really married? We are in for an absolutely astonishing and potentially unprecedented few days and few weeks ahead. Brittany, make sure that you subscribe to the Royal News Network to keep across it all. That is Brittany's spectacular channel where, of course, she covers the British royal family, but also monarchies from across Europe and the rest of the world as well. And there was a lot going on with them, wasn't there, at the World Cup final last night with Spain's big...
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are once again making headlines following a wave of media reports and commentary about their future, their marriage, and their relationship with the royal family. Today, we'll examine the latest claims being discussed, look at what has actually been reported, and distinguish between confirmed information and speculation. Let's get started. Several commentators have recently suggested that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's relationship is facing renewed public scrutiny. Some reports point to unnamed sources discussing possible tension within the marriage, while others focus on Harry's future relationship with the royal family. At this stage, none of these reports have been confirmed by Buckingham Palace or by the Sussexes themselves. That makes it important to approach the story carefully and recognize the difference between verified reporting and speculation. Royal reporting often relies on unnamed sources, especially when discussing private family matters. While these reports can generate major headlines, anonymous claims cannot be independently verified by the public. For that reason, it's helpful to consider how different news organizations cover the same story and whether any official statements support the claims. Without direct confirmation, many of these reports remain allegations rather than established facts. Another topic receiving attention is the possibility that Prince Harry could spend more time in the United Kingdom in the future. Commentators have linked this idea to ongoing discussions about security, family relationships, and the practicalities of traveling between Britain, Europe, and the United States. However, there has been no official announcement indicating that Harry plans to relocate or resume any royal role. For now, any long-term plans remain unknown. Since stepping back from royal duties, Harry and Meghan have pursued a number of commercial ventures. Like any public figures, their projects have received mixed reactions. Supporters argue they are building an independent life outside the monarchy, while critics question whether their business strategy has delivered the long-term success originally expected. Without access to private financial information, outside observers can only speculate about the couple's circumstances. The relationship between King Charles, Prince William, and Prince Harry continues to attract worldwide interest. Occasional reports suggest private conversations or efforts to improve family relationships, while others emphasize continuing disagreements. Because these discussions largely occur behind closed doors, the public rarely has a complete picture of what is actually happening. Official announcements remain the most reliable source of information. As with many royal stories, today's headlines combine confirmed events with commentary, opinion, and speculation. Whether these latest reports prove significant or simply become another chapter in the ongoing public conversation remains to be seen. For now, separating verified facts from unconfirmed claims is the best way to understand the story. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more royal family news, analysis, and commentary. Finally, we'd love to hear your thoughts. How should readers approach royal stories that rely heavily on anonymous sources? Share your perspective respectfully in the comments below.